want to just ask you 2 things about Dad. When, who was it that taught him the discussions?
The teacher, when I went to the gospel doctrine.
In Logan, right?
His name was Reynolds.
Is it Bill or William Reynolds or?
See, this is going to be difficult.
Well, we'll just do the best that we can, okay?
It counts. Ward Reynolds.
Ward Reynolds.
Oh,
He taught him.
Well, when we moved to Ashton, I went to Tom Murdoch, who was the bishop, and told him that Don was not a member. And so they were just all very cognizant that there was a virgin Gentile that they could teach the gospel. And so the bishop was very, very kind and very sensitive. And Ward Reynolds was very learned in the gospel, a good teacher. And he just kind of took it upon himself to see that Don, he didn't teach him like a missionary. He just made sure that he understood. And he loved the class, so I got him started. I guess he really got started in Logan before we went to Ashton, because he had Kalange, seems like a fellow by the name of Kalange taught the class that he went into. And he was good, and he was sensitive too, and pretty soon he had Don enjoying it. And when we moved to Ashton, he just kept going.
So when did Dad get the priesthood?
We'd have to get in his book and find out. Because he was baptized after we moved to Logan, or to Ashton. Well, the bishop and Reynolds and just presented it to him, said, it's time to get baptized. And they talked him into it. And he just came home and said, if you'll get my clothes put together, I'm going to go to St. Anthony and get baptized.
What did you say?
I was floored. I really was shocked that it was done so smoothly.
What did you do?
I went with him. Got his clothes together and went with him.
Now, then he would not have been able to bless Donna when she was born.
Well, our stake president and one of his counselors came over to the house to bless Donna.
At the house.
And they blessed him at our home, blessed her. And when they blessed her, they gave all the blessings to her. And it was just such a sweet blessing. There was something there that bothered Don. Because when they left, he said, well, I guess it's time to get working on me. I need to do get myself in gear.
Wow. You don't find many men who do that.
So after that, once they called, and they immediately called us to be dance directors.
Oh, that was fun.
And it was the right thing because it didn't demand a knowledge of something that he didn't know that much about.
True.
But it demanded physical service. And he was good at it. He loved to do it, and he loved the artistry that came with floor shows and
he was good at
green
that.
balls. And so that was a good way to inject him right into the church's service system.
The one that I remember, the dance that I remember is when you did the Blue Danube. And you had those white wigs and the dresses that were incredible. Did you make those?
We made them out of the velvet drapes.
Where?
Out of the church.
From the church. It was incredible. As a child, I sat there and watched that over in the corner, and I thought, when I grow up, I want to wear one of those dresses.
Yeah, well, you were one of the little fairies that wandered in the forest. I have to admit, it was quite a show.
Yeah, it really was. Well, tell me about, let's start back with, I have already how you and Dad met and how you got married. Why don't you refresh with me on how you got married? Now, your parents couldn't be there, right?
They just came through from Salmon to meet my parents. And Dawn was on furlough.
They were living where, in Ashton at the time? Grandma and Grandpa?
No, I think they drove over from Salmon.
Oh, and you were in Ashton.
My parents
Okay.
were there. And they drove over to meet them. And on the way back, we just stopped because he was going to have to report for duty. Stopped in St. Anthony at the Justice of the Peace. And that's where we were married. And the rest was service in the military.
And you lived with his parents?
And worked in Salmon.
How long after?
I'm trying to remember. It's hard to remember.
It's okay. How long after was Donna born?
Well, I followed him. We lived in Norfolk, Virginia.
I think I've got all that stuff.
New
where
York.
You went back and forth and back and forth. Why don't we hit on Trona? Tell me as much of Trona as you can remember. Was Dad still in the military when you moved to Trona? Because didn't Donna get sick, first of all? You lived in Logan, above the Capitol, is that right? In an apartment above the Capitol Theater?
While he was in New Guinea.
While he was in New Guinea. And then... Then, she got sick.
What was it she had?
Either rheumatic fever or scarlet fever, one of them. Or even, could have been mono. Something like that. Mono. And the doctor told you to move to the desert?
Yeah, we lived in Logan.
At that time?
Because we lived there on Main Street in that little cabin. And his folks lived up over the store.
They lived over the theater? Really?
Then they decided to move back to the desert.
When you did?
Uh-huh.
Did Uncle Jack drive you to Trona? His dad was in the service.
I can't remember.
I believe that Uncle Jack drove you.
And
took you all the way to Trona in a Ford. Let me think. I don't remember what kind of car it was. Some type of a Ford. Donna had mentioned that you used to go to the old folks' home in Logan all the time. With her. You'd go in and see somebody, and she didn't know if it was...
Oh, and Anne and Uncle Wallace. Cared.
They had an old folks home.
Oh, it was there on Main Street. Not Main Street, but...
On Center Street. On Center Street, right?
Yeah,
I think that's what it was. Center Street.
Oh, boy. Why can't I remember?
What church callings did you have in Trona? By that time, Dad was a member of the church.
He was a counselor to the branch president.
And what were you doing at the time?
Just going along, supporting.
You didn't have a church calling?
If I did, I can't remember it.
The branch president's name? Woolsey? Was it Woolsey?
Darrell.
Darrell Woolsey.
Uh-huh. He also became a 70, remember?
I don't remember that. And it was the Ridge Crest Steak or something like that?
Yes.
Is that where Dad got the priesthood, or did he get it beforehand?
Well, I'm sure he got it there.
There or in Ashton, after having joined the church?
Oh, Debbie.
It's okay. We can just It's not a problem.
Yeah, I just can't remember.
Okay, Donna was baptized in Valley Wells.
Swimming pool.
In the swimming pool. And her dad used to take us swimming there all the time to try and teach us how to swim.
And Brad.
Mm-hmm.
Brad did learn to swim there. He was just a little taught. He was pretty capable in the water.
But you have a special request from your daughter. It made such an impression on her how the experience with Claire Voorhees really gave you a strong testimony.
Well, it gave me, I don't know that a strong testimony, but it helped me to grow up to not trust my inner soul with anyone.
What happened?
Well, I understand a lot of why. It was just a good experience to teach me to be gentle with my fellow man. Because I trusted her with my inner soul, and she betrayed me. When I was a young girl, lonely. Have I been there all my life? Always lonely. Seems like I have lots of loved ones around me, but never a friend who was a true blue friend. Have you ever had that?
No, I've got some really choice friends.
So I don't know. Even the one that I always thought was a really good friend, Consider Hills. She has become a casual friend. So I've learned a lesson about if you're a friend, be a friend all the way, regardless of circumstances.
What about the camps?
Yeah. What was the one right next to us, Gary?
Gary?
Gary, he was little. He had a little car.
I don't know. Who was the little man in the first camp? The little hermit? Very nice man, but always kept to himself.
He was a miner and an old timer. And I can't remember his name, but I can see his face. And I always thought about him as Death Valley Scotty. He knew everything about Death Valley. And was a really close friend to Aunt Thelma. So, Trona, to me, was a place that quite often I said, if I ever get out of here, I will never say no to a calling.
How come? What made you say that?
Because it was a lonely place, a bad memory because of the girl.
What was it she did?
Well, I was upset at Grandma Lola because she was a mother-in-law and she criticized me for not being the daughter-in-law that she had hoped. She was a woman who got up in the morning, ripped through the house, did her washing and ironing all in the same day, and it had to be done. And she wanted me to do that with all my little kids. And I was busy taking care of the little ones. All that I could handle in a God-forsaken place in the desert. And so I voiced my anger to Claire, and she betrayed me.
She went to Lola?
She went all over the camp and told things that I had said to Nadine and so it all just, then I had my baby, and I can't even remember what she told, but she told something really bad about that. And it was not true. And so when I came home with my baby, no one came to see my baby or came to see me because she had just gone from house to house talking about me.
What did she say about your baby?
See, I can't remember. I don't remember a lot of the garbage. I just remembered the situation. And I remembered that she had said something. She had told Nadine and Jack that I had said something about them. In other words, what she was doing was turning everybody against me. And and Nadine was the kind of girl that she just plain old came right out and told me what Claire had said. So I said to Nadine, when I got to feeling well enough, come with me. And I took Nadine and walked over to Claire's and knocked on her door. When we stood on the porch and knocked on her door. And I said, I came to face you with the lie that you said. And I came to make this right. You know that what you told was a lie. And she slammed that door in our face and would never allow me to ever see her or talk to her again. If she saw me, she'd run. So I was down at the store one day shopping, and the rain came around the corner of one of the counters with my shopping cart and ran straight face to face with Claire. So I had made up my mind that if I ever met her face to face, there would be a knockdown and drag out because I was leaving with her. I would have just beat the can off her.
Had you not been a good Mormon girl, huh? Even then, huh?
So anyway, when she saw that she had run face to face with me, she took off running with her cart. And she ran outside and threw her groceries in her car and was gone.
Did
and
she pay for them?
her. I followed her. I don't know what happened. I followed her and she disappeared. It was the last encounter I had with Claire. But when I moved back to Logan, it's interesting how things work in your life. When I moved back to Logan, Evelyn Marler, who was the sweetest soul in the world, she wanted to be my friend. And I wouldn't let her. She tried day after day after day to become a friend with me. I would just walk away. I would just make an excuse. But one day she said to me, why do you avoid me? Why will you not let me be your friend?
And you told her?
I told her.
What'd she say?
I said, I've never trusted anyone since. I still am a little bit that way. Very careful about listening to people. And so my little friend down in Cedar Hills has pulled away. She's still my friend. We talk, but that close linked friendship is, I'm careful. I don't know if I've learned anything from her.
Sure you have. Everybody is different, and they all have their ways, and we learn how to overlook them and forgive them, even though they have hurt.
Mm-hmm.
Because 9 times out of 10, they don't know they did. You know that? 9 times out of 10, they're not aware of what has happened.
I'm sure somewhere in eternity, Claire and I will probably have to
Face each other and decide what to do from there, huh?
Yep.
Okay, what about Donna's friend, Sawyer?
Donna's friend. Well, she'd never heard from her, but they were such good friends.
What did they used to do?
They just always played together.
Which camp did she live in?
I think she lived up above, just a little bit, above where Dottie and Jerry lived.
Now, did Jan and Jean live there, or just Jean, or just Greg?
Well, they all lived there.
So Jan and Jean were there as well?
For a little while. Mm-hmm.
I remember Dad telling me about this oasis in the middle of the desert that was down within a little rock. Do you remember that? It was kind of in a cave or something, and you could crawl down in there, and it was just alive with plants and...
Oh, it was up above us.
Oh, up above you.
In the mountains.
Well, what was that called? Was that Valley Wells?
It was kind of up the mountain, way up the mountain from Valley Wells, and we went through a steep canyon. And it was just a place where people would go and a place to climb. Ridgecrest was here, and the mountains were here, and this was up in those.
Donna had also mentioned that at Valley West, Dad had made a little pond and everything, or was that Valley West? Maybe that was... Oh, a little park where he made a duck pond.
Well, our house was here, and there was a little oasis right back in there with the duck pond he made.
And what was the Scotty Castle?
Scotty's Castle is still there. You ought to go. I would like to go back there because Aunt Thelma gave Don that place. And one day, her brother or brother-in-law, whose name, he was a lawyer, Hilliard, he's still in business there somewhere. He called me. He said, "You don't want to move down there, do you?" And I said, "No." He said, "Well, I didn't think you'd want it." And I said, "No, but I want all the machines that Don took down there." He never said anything, but He took the place.
What machines?
Don took his lathe, his metal lathes, and Dad was going to go down and make it an oasis where people could go for the winter because they had all those little buildings out. But Jack called me one day and he said, "Did you know anybody by the name of Hilliard?" "Oh, are you?" I said, "Yeah."
This is Jack Kidd or Jack Brisop?
Jack Kidd.
Okay.
And Herm had run into something. Something had come. They were trying to find out what it was, and they were trying to send it to me, and they said they sent it, and I never got it.
You don't know what it was. A Hilliard?
I wonder very much so if his conscience bothered him.
Good too.
There was a beautiful shop there that Uncle John had made. It had all kinds of tools, and Dad was excited about that.
Uncle John had a skin disease. What was it? Do you know?
It was from the sun.
He was allergic to the sun.
Just dry. His skin was just so dry. But these are all out of my past, all of this stuff. But I did learn from being down there because it was such a heartache for me. I got to work in the Relief Society. That was good.
So that was one of your callings, huh? What did you do?
Oh, I've always taught.
So you taught spiritual living or something?
Well, I can't remember what it really was.
Do you remember what Dad's rank was in the military? Captain? Lieutenant? Sergeant?
Probably could find it in some of my stuff.
Did he go to the Korean War?
Well, yes, that's the last place we went.
Tell me about what happened there. How did he get called? And
Well, we were in the electrical business
where were you living?
in Ashton. Where he was wiring the cabins up in Highland Park. Lived there and sold utilities, washers, dryers. And wired homes.
And then he got called to the Korean War.
Yeah, he had so long to sell his business, get free, and report for duty.
And so you just
And
had...
that's when we moved to Trona.
So you moved to Trona without Dad then?
He went in the service. He would go and report down in California, come home sometimes on the weekend. I'm anxious to see my video from my life.
It'll refresh your memory, huh?
It'll be an interesting one.
So what happened when Dad came home? How long was he gone, do you know?
Oh. How sad that I can't remember these things. What we did, I think Grandma and Grandpa had a lot to do with it. Because which one of you kids, I guess it was Donna that was sick. We were trying to get her into school. And little Catholic minister, what was his name? He knew Donna, or he knew Mike and Lola. And he was feeling bad, and he just went to bat. Got a hardship discharge for Don.
How long had he been out, do you know? A year or two, or just a little while?
You know, I'm sorry, I can't do better.
That's okay. You're fine. You're fine.
It is a part of my life that I really have no desire to remember either.
Your trip from Trona to Aunt Anne's house during the summer, do you remember that one? From Trona to Aunt Anne.
Oh, you mean to Avon?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Don decided when he got out of the service that he was going to go back to Utah. And we talked about it and decided we'd leave, and we told Nadine and her husband, Jack, that we were going to go back to Utah. And so Don just came one day and he says, I'll flip a quarter. Heads we do and tails we don't. Came up heads. He said, okay. We packed our cars full. Contacted Aunt Anne. She said, sure, we could come there. And we went there. Don contacted Thompson Electric to see if he could have his job back, and Lynn said, how interesting. He said, I was just thinking I'd like to get a hold of you and thinking about asking you to come back.
Now, Lynn's the one that got Dad to stop smoking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Was it this time or was it before? So he was a member of the church and still smoking.
Well, the thing he did when we got back, They wired the temple and put lights on the temple. And that was the job that he gave Don. But he was a good man. He was a good example. And that's where Don really became active.
Okay, that was the first part when you first lived there and worked with him.